I'll be taking The Solitary Reaper by William Wordsworth. The Solitary Reaper is a romantic poem written after William Wordsworth's trip through Scottish Highlands. The images of the beautiful scenery of countryside attracted him greatly. The poet narrated an experience of a short encounter with a solitary Scottish rustic girl whose song in Scott took him deeply. Therefore, William Wordsworth watched her singing to herself in a distance so as not to disturb her. Wordsworth is in awe of the girl's voice, although the meaning of the song was incomprehensible to him. Further, the tone of this poem is pleasant and it is a poem of praise on the natural beauty of countryside as well as the rusticity of the simple rural people. The theme throughout the whole poem seems to be the beauty of the song and the lingering effect it leaves upon the poet. So, the poet is very much impressed by the solitary reaper. Solitary means alone, lonely. Reaper, one who is cutting the harvest. Behold her means look at her. So the poem is written in a conversational style as if he is talking to the audience. Behold her single in the field, yon solitary highland lass. Lass is the girl. Yon means there. And reaping, solitary again lonely, reaping, cutting the harvest. So, behold her single in the field, yon solitary highland lass. So, he is asking the readers, imagining them to be the beholders or the passers who are standing by the field. He says, look at this girl who is all alone in the field, this alone girl, this lonely girl who lives highland, reaping and singing by herself. So she is performing both the tasks. As she is reaping the harvest, at the same time she is singing the song. Now he is imagining as if the passers are going there. They are, going by the field. So he says, stop here or gently pass. So he says, either you stop here in order to hear the song. He is asking the people who are passing by the field, either you stop gently and listen to the song or pass, or you gently pass without making any noise. He is requesting them, he is asking the people who are passing by there. He says, stop here or gently pass. Alone she cuts and binds the grain. So she is performing the task all alone. So grain are the sheaves of ripe corn, perhaps maybe oats or barley or wheat, and he says, alone she is cutting the grain and at the same time she is binding the grain and sings a melancholy strain. Melancholy is expression of sadness. Strain is song. So the poet could guess that she is singing a song which is an expression of sadness. And he says, reaping and sings a melancholy strain. Oh, listen, for the vale profound is overflowing with the sound. So, as I told you, the poem is written in a colloquial style, imagining as if there is the audience and he is asking the audience to listen to the song, because he says that the entire valley is echoing with the sound of the young girl's song. So, oh, listen is an expression indicating the delight of the poet's heart at the reaper's sweet music. So he says the entire valley is overflowing with the sound of the or with the sound of the song of the girl. Now he says, now he is comparing the song of the girl with the song of the nightingale, and he establishes that the song of the reaper is far more charming and more melodious than the song of the nightingale. He says, nor no nightingale did ever chant. Chant means sing. More welcome means heard more gladly. Heard more gladly to weary bands. Weary bands are the tired travelers. They are the tired travelers. Notes are the single tones or song. Weary is tired. Shady haunt is shady place where travelers usually halt. Oasis among Arabian sands in the deserts of Arabia. Thrilling means piercing the ears because it is vibrant, and the feelings because it is exciting as being the harbinger of spring and calm weather. So what is he is saying, he says that the Highland girl is singing a sad song. She is singing more melodiously than the music of nightingale. In the Arabian deserts there are oases. Oases are the places having water and trees where tired travelers rest and the nightingale sings. In such musical surroundings, the music of the nightingale is sweet, but the music of the solitary reaper is sweeter. So he establishes the superiority of the reaper's song over the song of the nightingale. He says a cuckoo's song singing in the silent seas near the Hebrides Islands of the coast of Scotland is not so sweet as this girl's music. The music of the nightingale and the cuckoo appears inferior to the girl's singing. So the above lines, possess verbal felicity and high suggestiveness. So the song of the solitary Highland reaper impresses the poet very much. Now he says, will no one tell me what she sings? Now the girl is singing in her native tongue, so the poet cannot understand its meaning and words. He wants to know what she is singing about, and he is guessing. So he says, he's asking, can anybody tell me what is the subject matter of her song? And then he makes conjecture, he makes guesses. He says, perhaps the plaintive numbers flow for old, unhappy, far off things and battles long ago. He guesses that maybe the solitary reaper, is singing of some old, unhappy, far off things, or of some battles fought in ancient times, or perhaps, or is it some more humble lay song? Humble means related with day to day life. So, or is it some more humble lay, familiar matter of today, some natural sorrow, loss or pain that has been and may be again. He says maybe the girl is singing about some commonplace sad events of everyday occurrence. It may be that she is singing about some sorrow, loss or pain which occurred in the past and may happen again in future. Maybe about some natural calamity that happened in the past and that may happen again. So in this particular stanza, he is just guessing about the subject matter of the poem, of the girl's song, but that he doesn't definitely know that the song is plaintive, song is expressing some kind of sadness. That sadness may be about the loss that occurred during the battle time, or some unhappy things, that event that happened in the past, or maybe some natural day to day calamity that happened in the past and may happen again. So but then he says, Whatever the theme, the maiden sang, as if her song could have no ending. He says it hardly matters what is the subject matter of the girl's song, but it appeared to the poet that the girl went on singing as if her song would never end. It was unending. And he says, whatever the subject matter of her song, she kept on singing as if her song would never finish. And again he says, I saw her singing at her work. She was singing while doing her work. She was singing while she was bending and reaping the corn with her sickle. And he says, and over the sickle bending, she was bending over the sickle, means the instrument with which, the tool with which she was cutting or reaping the corn. And he says, I listened motionless and still. The poet stood silent, listening to her music. And then, he says, and as I mounted up the hill, the music in my heart I bore long after it was heard no more. And he says, then he climbed up the hill and could no longer hear the music. Still, in his heart, he heard that music long after his ears were unable to hear it. He carried the music in his memory. Its effect on the poet was great. Its memory became a joy forever for the poet. So, when the girl stopped singing, the poet left the valley and went up the hill. The sweet melody of the girl's song continued to resound his heart long after the girl had stopped singing. Wordsworth's memory was a dwelling place for all sweet sounds and lonely sights. Such an experience is very common with Wordsworth. He tells us the same thing in his sonnet Daffodils also. The poet seeks imaginative delight in recollecting the music of the girl in moments of the silence at home, just as the daffodils flash upon that inward eye which is the bliss of solitude. In the same way, the melody of the solitary reaper's song remained enshrined in the heart of the poet and gave him delight in his lonely and weary hours. Thank you.